Alright guys, welcome to, finally, the Q&A HP Lovecraft. HP Lovecraft Q&A, I guess you could say. And I am here with fellow Lovecraftian enthusiast, Sydpart2.
Hi!
And the priest of the Bloodstone Church of Inmouth himself, Milan, Jeftfic1992.
The sky will bleed chaos, and I shall drink it with my mouth, and it shall taste of blood of virgins. Hello, everyone.
It seems like, Milan, a lot of people are just so happy when you come onto my channel.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I mean, I'm like the peanut butter between two pieces of white bread. It's wonderful. I am the peanut butter. No. Ian is the chocolate. Deadpoolzilla is the bread, and I am the peanut butter. No, I'm the fish eggs. I am the fish eggs of the sandwich.
So, we shall continue with without further ado, you guys want to get into the questions?
Sure, why not?
Alright then, without further ado, Ia Unshagath. That's Lovecraftian for let's get this shit going.
Very right.
Alright. Boorat1 said something in Lovecraftian. My Lovecraftian's a bit, well, it's not really a question, actually, so I suppose we'll move on. My Lovecraftian isn't what it's used to be. So, okay, our first official question comes from Jake Batt, and he asks, who would win between Cthulhu or you with a pistol on a good day?
I'm gonna go with Cthulhu. Sorry,
The thing with the pistol, I mean, why would you take a pistol to fight Cthulhu? I mean, he is our lord and master, so you might as well bring a goat or some sort of thing that bleeds to sacrifice it. You don't fight Cthulhu. You let him destroy your mind, and then you do his bidding, because that's just how things work.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. You don't just, you don't fight against the awesomeness that is your god. I mean, why would you bring a gun? I mean, it's ultimately useless. I mean, if you use that gun on yourself, maybe the sweet embrace of oblivion can save you from the overwhelming madness of Cthulhu, but that's just kind of cheating, don't you think?
Possibly.
Yeah, I said a thing.
Alright, so I guess we'll say, not me. Next question comes from Vritzilla, and he asks, if the state of the world depended on it, would you bang a deep one, male or female, because your life choice, and I respect it 100%?
Dude, my wife is a deep one, and I find this question extremely offensive. I have a son who is part deep one, and he will end the world in a holocaust of terror and destruction. And my wife may be a giant, vaguely agender fish monster, but she's a beautiful and independent woman, and fuck you, man, who asked this question. My wife is gorgeous, and she fucks like a dream, so go to hell.
I'm gonna go with no. I would bang a deep one because you fish parts.
I don't know. I think it's not so much that the world depended on. I'm gonna say no. More like I don't know what those Lovecraftians. You know what kind of STDs they're carrying.
Oh, dude, like the fish people, like the Innsmouth folk, they are extremely clean in their sexual habits. I mean, sure, there's a lot of slime, but it's like it's
just like, I guess.
Exactly, it's lube. It's natural lube, and like it's all natural.
Okay, Milan, shut up.
Hey, jeez. I mean,
we don't.
Just telling. Okay, fine.
Shut your mouth.
All right.
No.
Wait, Haley, is that you?
Yeah, she's here.
Oh.
She's listening to all of this.
You
She's
poor
sitting
woman.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest, Sydpart2's woman.
Yeah, his significant other.
She's just here to laugh at the antics. She doesn't know that much about H.P. Lovecraft, so she won't be answering questions.
Alright.
Well, she's about to get an education, won't she? Well, yeah.
Yes. Alright. Next question comes from Jerkwater100, and he asks, what would Suma Gorath think of Cthulhu? For those who don't know, remember who Suma Gorath is? He's a very old Doctor Strange villain, who was inspired by Lovecraftian works.
Suma Gorath is actually, most people don't know this, but he is actually an alternative form of,
Nitharnahotep?
Yes, I can never pronounce his name without my eyes bleeding. It's so annoying. Yeah, he's an alternative form of that hideous creature that you mentioned. So yeah. All things lead back to Cthulhu. But he is the first and he shall be the last. Thus spoketh the screaming monk of the bleeding hills.
Haley, I hope you're taking notes.
Yes. The monk of the bleeding hills shall come.
Alright, so thank you for that. I guess more or less he'd think, hey, you're just like me. Let's go party. So that's my answer, Jerkwater. Next question comes from Tariq. Oh, I as always, I deeply apologize if I have mispronounced anyone's YouTube name or actual name, so I deeply apologize for this. So, Tariq Howard asks, necromorphs from Dead Space versus the creatures from the Mountains of Madness. How do you think that fight will play out?
Well, the creatures from the Mountains of Madness, the creatures there...
The Shoggoth, you mean?
The Shoggoth, the Shoggoth wins, obviously, but the creatures, the actual sentient inhabitants of the Dead City, they're not really monsters, they're just, people from other worlds who have sentience and are pretty good scientists and artists, but just don't look like people because they're not human. But the Shoggoth, the Shoggoth would just kind of destroy the necromorphs because he's a giant, ever-morphing thing of eyes and death and moving things that scream.
Yeah, I'm just gonna side with Milan on this one because I don't know. I'm not aware of this story in particular. I'm sorry.
You've never read The Mountains of Madness?
Nope.
That's like H.P. Lovecraft 101. That's like one of the basic things you read.
Blame Milan. He's the one that had me read Lovecraft stories, and I haven't gotten to that one yet. So.
And I blame you, Milan, for not telling him to read that first.
Well, I told him. He just said I can only have time to read 3 stories. I'm like, dude, your sanity can be twisted and broken. It's okay. You don't have to just read.
Well, if you're gonna give someone stories to read, you need to give them more than a week's notice, buddy.
Fine. Anyway, the Shoggoth will just destroy the necromorphs. I mean, they are scary creatures that on their own, but Shoggoth is just much more of a formidable opponent.
Alright, so I guess we'll say the creatures from the Mountains of Madness. Our next question comes from Brian Kiersey, aka Amelia Reviews, and he asks, how would you do a Lovecraftian movie for a modern audience? Well, this kind of comes back to, does anyone remember, Milan, you probably remember this, I believe I told you this, that Guillermo del Toro was attempting to make The Mountains of Madness, but the funding got cut, and it got sent to Shrek 4.
That's sad.
What?
Yeah, the funding went to Shrek 4, apparently.
Yeah. Can I actually answer the question though? Because I've been thinking about this a lot.
Well, hang on. I want to hear Milan's rant.
Okay.
Guillermo del Toro, the fact that money was taken from this great prophet's hand to make blood will drench the streets of Hollywood. Ladies and gentlemen and children will lay decimated on the streets. There shall be a retribution. Fire shall fall from the sky and burn this bastard city. stupid idea. Why Shrek? Why would you have a big green thing yell pop culture references at people when you could have a Cthulhu, a big green thing, yelling madness at people? That is so much more of a... I don't know. No. Like,
Are you good? Are you fine? Hello?
yes. I'm good. That's okay. My father basically agrees with me. Like, he's just... it's ridiculous.
Alright, so Ian, you were about to say about how would you do a Lovecraft movie?
Yeah, I've been listening to Colors Out of Space, probably listened to it over 30 times in the last 2 weeks, because I'm writing a paper on it. And I've just been thinking about how to do this in the film, because the point is, there's a color that isn't a color that we as people recognize. And so my idea would be to shoot the entire thing in black and white, or have the final product be in black and white, and you have the color that's supposed to be this unearthly color that no one's ever seen before. You would just choose, like, say, orange, since that isn't a naturally occurring color very often. You make your entire spectrum of that color, since it's supposed to be floating and glowing occasionally in that spectrum. You take the entire spectrum of orange, and that's all what you use for your glow effect. And when you only get it into black and white, it'll just appear as a shade of gray that won't appear anywhere else in the film. So that was my basic premise. The story would have to be structured a bit differently and probably extended in a couple parts to make it fill for time. Yeah, that's the idea I've had for Colors Out of Space.
Alright.
Yeah, with my idea for, like, I know I went on a rant, but this is my idea to make a Lovecraftian movie. Personally, there's two ways you can go about this thing. You can have a period piece of just having people in the 1920s, dealing with the Lovecraftian thing, because the 1920s always have this kind of air of the world has not yet been fully discovered, as this air of mystery and stuff about it. But if you're going to do a modern day H.P. Lovecraft story, I think I should point to a work that Alan Moore worked on called Neonomicon. It's a short mini-series about Lovecraftian themes in the modern day, and it's kind of a deconstruction of them. But if they incorporate that story and take it a little bit more seriously, I think you can have a pretty good Lovecraftian movie. But yeah, the thing with Lovecraft is it's just been so overly exposed that Cthulhu has just kind of become the next Dracula. You have Cthulhu plushies.
Well, I don't think he's really become the next Dracula. I think South Park just made him into a more popular icon, and then it just became funny to treat him as a cute thing, because it's not cute at all.
The thing
so
is...
it's just a fun idea.
The thing is, like, the last time I saw a good rendition of a modern horror film involving Lovecraft was The Whisperer in Darkness. That was in a 1920 setting. It did have a few things changed about it, but I think it did a very good job at it, because I was generally afraid most of the time. Like, how they just built up scenery was scary as hell. And they did make it, and it kind of came off, had a corniness to it, but I think it kind of added to it as well. But, what was I going to say? How I would do a modern-day Lovecraft movie is definitely make it an air of horror. Definitely build that up. If you're going to play with, the other ones like Azathoth, Natharnarhotep, and Cthulhu and all of them, you need kind of you need to take that thing out of their head of, oh, they're so cute and so lovable. No, these things are terrifying and will drive you insane by the mere look at them.
Yeah, I can see where you come from there. I'm trying to think how you do that.
Well, as much as I'd like to go on to that, we've got like 22 more questions.
Okay.
Alright, so next question comes from Dragon-Epic94, and he asks, Godzilla vs. Cthulhu, who would win?
I've been thinking about this so much recently, and I don't know why, good match because Cthulhu's a magic-based creature. Godzilla's kind of like the ultimate science always wins-based creature. You know, so I'm gonna say Cthulhu just because magic always beats science in my mind. But you know, it'd be fun to watch. I'd love to see a movie done of it.
All right. We could actually get a comic of it because it's under, and this is a long shot, but IDW owns the rights to Godzilla, and technically, they've done, and H.P. Lovecraft's in public domain. You see where I'm going? You see where I'm going with this, Ian?
Yeah, I said I'd love it. Someone at IDW get on that shit because I would enjoy it.
IDW, you love to crossover stuff. Do Godzilla versus Cthulhu. You did. Infestation 2 was basically IDW characters versus the Great Old One, so. Yeah. Anyway, do you guys want to. Milan, do you want to weigh in on this?
Milan is dead.
Oh. Alright, so I guess we'll skip on to...
Too much has caused him to go insane. Catatonic state.
Alright, Haley, do you wanna weigh in on this?
Oh, the look of dread on her face.
You're just saying that because your man's in the room. Anyway, Mark, thank you for that question, Dragon Epic. Next question comes from Marcus Keener, and he asks, if you could pick your top 3 H.P. Lovecraftian monsters and put them in a fight, who do you think would win and why?
Oh, Cthulhu would be there, so Cthulhu. So I love the design of Cthulhu. He just looks so cool. It just the conception of it. We were talking about this in the Geeky Gentleman Halloween special that I just uploaded. It's just such a unique design. I've never seen anything like that before. You know, just a monster with an octopus for a head. That's neat.
Yeah. And it's not like you spent like 3 days gloating about making a custom figure of it, right?
It's a cool ass figure, isn't it?
Yeah, but it doesn't take 3 days to gloat about it.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I have painted it.
Yeah, she did. She did a really good job.
I did the detail work on it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Dimblezilla, will you put a link to that video in the description, please?
Fuck you.
Please. Be my pimp, please.
Anyway, for me, I'm going to say my top 3 monsters are Cthulhu, Azathoth, and Atharna-Hotep. But I'm going to say Azathoth as the winner. And here's why. Azathoth is as big as a whole galaxy.
Cthulhu looks cooler.
Yeah, Azathoth is this huge, endless void of just madness. Well, you.
I'll you and I'll your mom and I'll your dad too.
Yeah. Alright, next question. Well, if Milan were here, he'd be answering questions too, but he's not. Anyway, okay, our next question comes from One Bullet, Two Kills, and he asks, out of you and your guest talkers, who do you think would survive the longest in a gauntlet of Lovecraftian horror characters? You have to fight them similar to the Pokemon Elite Four system, one after another by on an unknown random island. And just for the sake of why the fuck not, you can choose 3 between these 3 sidekicks each. Jake the Dog, Gurr, or Rainbow Dash.
I would personally pick Jake the Dog. I think he's much more of a versatile assistant, but why would I want to fight my gods? I would prostrate myself upon in front of them, for I will worship them. I will not fight them. I will let them take me and do whatever they want to me, for I am their servant, and I am merely a lowly human, and they are greater than I. So the question doesn't make much sense to me.
Milan has gone bye-bye, Ian.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Milan would probably survive the longest on an island with Cthulhu monsters.
Like, we would get out of that and just be like, oh, like, we would be half crazed and just be like, how did we survive that? Milan just walks out just whistling like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. They seem pretty nice.
Yeah, Milan would be like the Joker in that one episode of Justice League with Ace. It's like, I'm already crazy.
I'm already crazy. But like the whole craziness thing, I mean, sure, normal folk will be driven mad, but I'm just in another facet of knowing how reality works. It's okay. I mean, it's not madness. Well, I guess, clinically it's madness, but it's, it's just...
I'll have to give you a hint. If you don't cut him off, he's going to keep going.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that.
Alright.
Alright, so that just leaves Gur and Rainbow Dash as sidekicks for... I call dibs on RD, so you get Gur, Ian.
I don't even know. Wait, Gur isn't the robot from Zim?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Speaking of which, at my work, they have sorry to do this, they have the DVD collector set of Invader Zim, and the box is the house. And, like, the roof opens up, and there's a little, like, plush ship in there and everything.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So, next question comes from Mr. Carice. Again, I hope I'm saying this name right. My apologies if I mispronounced that. Good sir. If you could pick one creature, deity, being from fiction, via TV, film, comic, anime, books, or games, to join the ranks of the great old ones, who would it be and why?
That's a difficult question.
Yes. You know who? I would pick Suma Gorath, because he's technically already a Lovecraftian creature. Dormammu would be a cool one to join the ranks.
Dormammu is a little bit too anthropomorphized. I mean, that would be interesting. I mean, because the dark side is is a new god, and Cthulhu is the oldest god. So I guess that would be an interesting dynamic, like the old, grizzled old veteran, trying to kind of, get this young pup into shape. Like, Cthulhu's just sitting there smoking his cigar, going, yeah, you're crazy, kid.
You're gonna eat lightning and crop thunder.
Exactly. You just killed 16 civilizations. In my day, I would have killed 15. You stupid kid. And Darkseid just, say, whatever, chief, and jumps into like a Mercedes or something, puts on sunglasses and just drives off.
Shut up.
Late night. What?
Shut up. Ian's right. I need to have, like... what we need is, like, one of those,
Shot collars.
I wouldn't say shot collars, more like one of those, those things for babies where you, like a little harness, and you go out too far, you click them right back, and that's what we need from Milan.
No, we just need to give Milan a shot collar that works across continents, and just anytime he starts talking too much, just press the button and it'll shut him up real quick.
Oh, that sounds...
I'm gonna make you put it on, too.
Oh, I will. It sounds like a fun experience into, the sensual side of friendship.
Shut up.
Oh, God.
Alright, so I guess we're done with that question.
Probably.
Dylan Malone, again, I apologize if I'm not saying that name right. Dylan Malone 14 asks, how will you feel about Lovecraftian fanfiction crossover? Well, truth be told, no one is really opposed to Lovecraftian fanfiction, believe it or not. A lot of people aren't, because the thing is that what Lovecraft wanted to do with all these great old ones is to have the universe expanded upon by the fans or followers, and rendition it however they please. He left it that open for them.
So then, cute Cthulhu is just as valid as horrifying madness.
I wouldn't say that, but...
I'm kidding, but yeah,
the thing with that is...
I think that would be good crossover material. Obviously, kaiju and giant monster fights.
Well, I was actually thinking, it would be so cool, since a lot of Lovecraftian stuff is mystery and whatnot, how about Sherlock Holmes and H.P. Lovecraft?
That's been
I don't like Sherlock Holmes interacting with mystical stuff.
Yeah.
It's
There's
just
actually...
Wait, Milan, what are you trying to say?
There's a story by Neil Gaiman called A Study in Emerald, which is basically Sherlock Holmes story in a world where the old ones have taken over, and it's really quite good.
Wait a minute, you're telling me that there was a book written by Neil Gaiman?
Well, it's not a book; it's a short story.
A short story with Sherlock Holmes fighting the Cthulhu and all of them. You never told me this, you bastard.
Well, it's not really. He's not fighting them. They have already won. They're just in this world where the old ones are the supreme beings. There's a reading of it. Neil Gaiman actually reads it. He has a reading of it online somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. But the thing with Lovecraft and him allowing, back in the 20s when he was working for Weird Tales magazine, him and guys like Robert E. Howard and all those other guys, they kind of H.P. Lovecraft. What?
They pooled their resources a lot.
Exactly, yeah. And H.P. Lovecraft kind of said, hey, if you want to use Cthulhu or this or that, use it however you want, because that kind of weirdly, so they kind of got things to change a little bit. Like in one of Robert E. Howard's stories, they call it Cthulhu is Cthulhu. There were a lot of weird spelling, so that kind of inconsistency really gave the mythos a genuine air of real mythology, because it was just so hackneyed and nobody could agree on what was going on in mythology. So, it was.
Mythology. I know I keep going to fights and stuff, and not the mystery aspect, but I'm a big God of War fan, and everyone's been talking. Where should Kratos go after defeating the gods of Olympus if they were to actually make non-prequel spin-off games? That'd be fucking awesome.
So Kratos versus Cthulhu and all of them, huh?
Yeah.
Alright, maybe. I would actually like to see, I don't know, in terms of, stuff like that, I would prefer to see, I've always wanted to write something with Lovecraft, but the thing is that I don't think I'm good at it. There's so many other things better at it, and I just can't get it down, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, I don't see myself writing Lovecraft fanfiction anytime soon, but I'm not saying I won't in the future.
Well, what's some ideas of good things to cross over with then?
Like I said, Sherlock Holmes would be fun. Interestingly enough, I would like to see a Tarzan one.
Have you ever read the original Tarzan?
Yeah?
Tarzan, Tarzan, the killer of black men. Oh
right?
I know, right? Funny enough, here's a little bit of a plug. If you like Batman, and if you like Cthulhu, and
well, actually, no. Let me say this. Instead of maybe not Tarzan, but maybe how about the old gods versus the pulp superheroes like the Shadow, and because they existed, technically speaking, they existed in the same time period.
Yeah.
I think there's a few stories with that actually going on in the more recent IDW or is it Boom Studios Masks type of series.
They didn't have the Lovecraft. I've read Masks. They don't have Lovecraft stuff in there. But you're thinking of Infestation 2 in IDW, and there's no pulp super. But however, they did kind of do. They didn't use the pulp heroes either. But maybe Dynamite, because again, Lovecraft is in public domain. So who knows? Maybe we can get a story with the Shadow or the Green Hornet or maybe the Spider or something like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely pay for that. I'll pay for that. That's a great little thing. Also, there's a few books like standalone miniseries, Elseworld stories, where basically it's the world of Batman meets the world of Cthulhu.
Oh, you're talking about the Doom that came to Gotham.
Oh yeah, that's some real shit right there, son.
Yeah. Anywho, sorry, what was it?
Time, babe.
Really, Nadia?
Shut up! My mind went blank.
Don't worry about it, baby. We're here for you.
Alright, thank you for that question. Next question comes from the Omnitron12345, and he asks, if you could pick one character from each of these mediums, video games, comics, anime, TV, or movies, what characters would you put into a classic Lovecraftian novel? Okay, let me go first. For video games, I would like to say Nathan Drake from the Uncharted. I think him looking...
Definitely.
Or, no, better yet, Lara Croft.
Then I'm gonna go with Nathan Drake.
Alright, Lara Croft from video games. Comics, I'm gonna say Doctor Strange. Anime, I'm gonna say, I don't know, Helsing, Alucard. TV, the Winchester brothers. Because they haven't done anything with Cthulhu, I don't think. Movies, I have nothing, and that's it.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Uncharted for video games, comics, fucking Aquaman. And watch nearly enough, but I'm just gonna pick, I'm gonna say Yu Yu Hakusho. TV, The Doctor, well, and movies, it's harder for movies, because...
Oh, speaking of Doctor Who and Aquaman, let me say this. There was a fanfiction I read called of Doctor Who fanfiction called The Horrors of Lovecraft, where the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, meets H.P. Lovecraft, and it turns out all the creatures he's been writing about were actually real, but here's the thing, they exist on a different dimensional plane, and only Lovecraft can see them.
That's totally a perfect Doctor Who story right there.
Yeah, and it works because Tom Baker did kind of like these horror mystery stories here and there in his run of the Doctor.
Yeah. I really can't think of anything in particular for movies, unfortunately, either.
For me, I would, for video games, I'd like to see Booker and Elizabeth take a crack at, taking on the mythos. What is it? So it's video games, anime, for anime, it's the one where the dog boy with the giant sword, and he's a part demon. Where is it again?
Oh,
Inuyasha, that's the one.
Inuyasha. It's a good one.
Inuyasha. And let's see. For comics.
TV, and movies.
Okay. For comics, I really want to see Aquaman take on the Cthulhu mythos.
Well, here's the thing. There's actually J. Michael Jasinski, when he did a Brave and the Bold run, there's a standalone story where it tells a story of a team up between Aquaman and the Demon, where every 7 years they would have to join forces to keep this Lovecraftian monster kept under the sea.
That's cool. Yeah. Funny enough, I also like to see Aquaman deal with Rapture. That would be interesting. Like Earth 2 Aquaman deal with Rapture. But TV, I'd have to say, let's see, Veronica Mars. I don't know. So for movies, I'd have to say, Gru from Despicable Me.
All right. Another thing I'd like to see from comics in fighting H.P. Lovecraft stuff: the Goon.
The Goon actually does fight a bit of the Goon is in Lovecraft, actually. He does fight some weird tentacly looking monster things.
Yeah. I've read so little of the Goon, but I want to read more.
Oh yeah, I actually did a review of Chinatown on my Halloween Spectacular. Go check it out.
I saw it, I just haven't watched it yet. Anyway.
You saw it, but you haven't watched it yet. That's words. Anyway, continue.
Shut up. Thanks for that question, Omnitron. Next question comes from Linerman0245, and he asks, how would you feel if the Cthulhu mythos invaded the Godzilla universe? So he's not just talking Godzilla versus Cthulhu like the other one. This is like all of the Toho monsters fighting the Lovecraftian monsters.
That'd be an amazing movie, and I would watch it constantly.
Yeah.
Personally, I know, Sid, I know you're gonna hate me, but I think it's just kind of redundant, personally. I mean, I love the Cthulhu, mythos and the Godzilla world, but it's just like, the Godzilla monsters aren't really that interesting to me. I mean, they're fun in a very superficial way.
Care about the characters. Like, I'm not Bill. I'm not the guy that says here, Godzilla totally has this well-defined character. No, I don't believe that. I think it's a cool giant monster, and that's why I want to see him fight Cthulhu, because it's another cool giant monster.
If Bill were here, he'd shoot you, right?
Yeah, I know that, but, like, I've watched Godzilla movies, and I really don't see a character there. I'm sorry. It's a plot contrivance at best. It's a cool plot contrivance. What really drives me crazy about Godzilla movies is the majority of them take an hour until Godzilla's in the frickin' movie.
His words, not mine. You wanna get mad at him for this. I am, personally.
I was watching Final Wars the other day. Godzilla's in the first scene, and then he's not in the movie again till, like, 55 minutes. Why? I enjoyed Final Wars.
Hey, can we shut up and do the Q&A?
Sure.
Before this turns into a rant?
Okay. Milan's allowed to rant, but I'm not allowed to rant.
Well, I'm telling him to shut up when he rants too long. He has a rant limit. And you were going off on the Godzilla movie, so you speak blasphemy in my house.
I didn't even know you liked Zilla.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The last part of my YouTube name didn't give it away?
But you don't like Deadpool?
Whatever. You spoke blasphemy in my house.
Okay.
Anyway. So, thank you for that question. It'd be very cool, is what we're saying. So, thank you for that question, Linerman. Next question comes from Earthbound again, and he asked, if you could get Neil Gaiman to rewrite one of the Lovecraftian stories into a graphic novel or a movie script, which story would you pick and why? Well, he's done a lot. That's the thing.
I guess Call of Cthulhu. That'd be cool.
Yeah, Call of Cthulhu, The Whisperer in Darkness would be fun. Maybe The Mountains of Madness. Oh, well, I think he's done Mountains of Madness now that I think about it. Has he, Milan?
Has he? I have absolutely no clue. I mean, he dabbled in the Cthulhu mythos, but I don't think he's rewritten anything.
You know, now that we talk about Neil Gaiman, there's actually this cool... You guys know who Craig Ferguson is, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Craig Ferguson is like this TV talk show host, and he had Neil Gaiman on. And the first thing they talked about when Neil Gaiman was first on his show, all they did was talk about Doctor Who and H.P. Lovecraft.
That's cool.
Like, and the rest of the audience was just like, what the hell are they talking about? Because apparently Craig Ferguson's a huge Doctor Who fan, and he basically spent his time in his younger years reading Lovecraft, and he's actually close friends with Peter Capaldi, the new Doctor.
Oh wow, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
That means he'll be on the show a lot. Then I might have to watch those interviews.
Yeah, they were friends since they were 17 and had a band together. Yeah, there's actually like when Capaldi was on the show. This is before he got cast as the Doctor, like 2 years beforehand, and he told this. And Capaldi and Craig were talking about the day when Capaldi, when he was 18, took some acid and he was tripping out. So he fumbled his way all through where he lived, all the way to where Craig was, and Craig was tripping on acid at the same time.
Acid is fun. I like to sneak it into the drinks of people I don't know at bars, just to see how they react.
Wonderful. So, I think pretty much answer your question. Pretty much those, I guess. Does anyone else want to say anything?
No, I'm good.
Alright, so our next question comes from the Okinawa Kid Prime, and he asks, which Marvel or DC superhero do you think could take on Cthulhu in a fight to the death?
I guess Aquaman.
Dude.
Something to do.
Galactus versus Cthulhu.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. World Eater versus the Destroyer of Worlds.
Neat idea.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Galactus for both accounts, and maybe for DC Darkseid.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys got anyone?
No, I was just gonna say, give Aquaman something to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Aquaman.
Maybe Superman, I don't know.
Superman can take anything.
Well, I mean, I guess it kind of would work in certain kinds of Batman mythos, you know? Batman's always got that air of mystery, and Lovecraft has that too, so I suppose you could work it around with the Batman mythos.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, it's been done. But I'm
Yeah, the Doom that came to Gotham, of course.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But yeah, thank you for that question, Okinawa. Next comes Kevin Clark, and he asks, what is your favorite and/or best movie based on Lovecraft's work, I'm going to say The Whisperer in Darkness. I really loved it.
I have to agree with you there. It is a really good rendition of the story.
It has some changes, but it works, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I think the problem with doing movies based on Lovecraft's work is it's really hard because so much of what he does is supposed to take place in your head, and it's like he very often uses the phrase "cannot be described" or variations thereupon, and so you can't put that on screen in any sort of medium. It's not.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a part of me that wants Nolan to take on Lovecraft.
Maybe. I don't know. It's just you can't visualize a lot of this stuff because it's not meant to be visualized. It's meant to be something so horrific you can't describe it, and so to put it on screen.
Well, if you were to pick a director to do something with H.P. Lovecraft, I would say, and I know we're kind of going off topic because I said The Whisper in Darkness, but real quick, I would say someone who can delve into the mental stuff, into mental stories, maybe David Finch. Or Darren Aronofsky.
Oh, Darren Aronofsky, that'd be interesting. But I personally, my two choices are the guy who did Gangs of New York, or Guillermo del Toro, which is the obvious choice.
Yeah, that's the obvious choice. I was just thinking a little outside the box, but yeah, like I said, David Finch and Aronofsky have done psychological pieces before, and like you said, most of the psychological stuff is in Lovecraft, so it's not too far away, just add more of a horror element, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I really like to see, when I see a real depiction of how the mind breaks down in movies, like a genuine descent into madness, I'm like, oh, that reminds me of what I went through. What's that word? You not associate with the character, you empathize with the character. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah, I like.
All right, Milan, you're ranting.
Sorry, Master. I'll be good.
Anyway, next question comes. Thank you for that question, Kevin. Next question comes from the Spawn117, and he asks, "What would happen if the 10th Doctor, Sakura from Naruto, Freedom Gundam, Gypsy Danger, Alucard, Optimus Prime, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Hal Jordan, Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider, Ash from Army of Darkness went up against the H.P. Lovecraft creatures from Infestation 2?
I got this name ready. It is the ultimate showdown. Ultimate destiny.
There you go. There is your answer.
Personally, I think that all the guys will just fight the monsters in an epic battle, but Sakura will just stand to the side and yell, "Yay! Do the thing!" while I stand here and be useless. And then everyone dies, except the Lovecraftian monsters. They'll just feed on their bodies and souls, and it'll be an epic battle, but they will all die.
Alright, thank you for that question, Spawn117. I'm just going with what Sid said.
Ultimate showdown.
Ultimate destiny. Good guys, bad guys, an explosion.
As far as the eye can see.
And nobody wants to
Wonder who it would be. This is the ultimate showdown of ultimate destiny. That's it. We need, like, Haley needs to do backup, and then we got a barbershop quartet.
Okay.
She's hiding and shaking her head and burying it in a pillow.
Okay, how about this? Oh, when the old ones return from sleep, the world will fall.
This was a bad idea.
The ultimate misfit, the sky will open, and blood shall flow. Your mind is broken, might as well enjoy.
Did you?
When stars
Okay,
are
we get it.
Fine.
It was a good song, but we have a lot more questions to do, Milan.
Fine. I'll sing it at the very end.
Alright, Fire Tools asks, your favorite old one Lovecraftian creature beside Cthulhu, what fictional character, what fictional universe would you like to see it invade for awesome crossover plot? Guys, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm known as the crossover guy, so that's why we're getting a lot of these type of questions.
That's fine. Well, God, I guess the, frog people...
You mean the Dagon?
In Innsmouth?
Yeah, I think that's what they're called, Dagon.
Okay. Yeah, I like them. They were neat, and I'm trying to think like a cool like universe for those to be in. Alright, you know, in one of the Call of Duty games where you do shooting Nazi zombies, it'd be cool to replace Nazi zombies with those things.
Okay, Milan, what about you?
I would have Nyarlathotep versus Loki from Thor.
Alright, Azathoth for me, and him taking on the Marvel Cosmic Universe. Alright. Next question comes from Burnouter7. He asks, name your top 11 H.P. Lovecraft works. Why 11? Because I like the Nostalgia Critic. I don't know. I have 11, I just don't think I can put them in an order, you know what I mean?
Let's see, for me, 11. Like, that's something I can't put them into any sort of list, because, let's see, I'll give my top 5. The Temple at number 5, Mountains of Madness, number 4, A Shadow over Innsmouth, number 3, Call of Cthulhu, no, The Outsider for number 2, and Call of Cthulhu for number 1.
Okay.
I like all the stories. They change in my head, you know, regarding my favorites.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that Colors Out of Space is my favorite. And then,
That is a good one.
it's so there's so much philosophy in that. I have to enjoy it. It's a requirement.
Wait, which one did you say?
Colors Out of Space.
Ah. Alright, I don't really have a list, so, Anyway, thank you for that question. Next one comes from the Wolfman Impaler, and he asks, Cthulhu has awakened and is invading the Doctor Who universe, Avatar universe, Gargoyles universe, Godzilla universe, and the MLP universe. And the Doctor has assembled a team to save everything. Who does he pick?
Well, Pinkie Pie is obviously unaffected by the Cthulhu's gaze, and she'll just go, yay! I don't know, something cute will happen. I don't know.
I guess he picked the Fire Nation because water dwellers. I don't know. Gargoyles universe. It's been so long since I've seen Gargoyles. So I really don't know there. Godzilla universe is obviously going to find a way to control Godzilla, and that's all I got.
Alright, for me, I'm going to say from Avatar, he's going to unite with, I guess, Avatar Aang. For Gargoyles, he's going to team up with Oberon, the Lord of the Third Race. Godzilla, obviously, and I'm going to say Twilight from MLP.
Okay.
So that's me. What about you, Milan?
I don't know. Stuff will happen. I don't know. It's personally no clue. Pinkie Pie, the gargoyle guy, the head one. Which one was there again? I don't know. I choose whatever you guys are choosing. I literally have no opinion.
Okay.
Alright. Thank you for that question. Next comes Boo Rat number 1. And he asks, what Lovecraftian fate would you prefer in one of his stories? Driven mad, eaten alive, or become an Innsmouthian? I'm just getting weird and random with it. I'm already mad. Ha, wah, ha, ha, ha. Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point.
Fuck it, man. I want to be a frog person. Ribbit, ribbit.
Yeah, well, the thing with me, you know...
You're already mad, so one of those does not count, so you only can pick two.
It's kind of redundant to be driven insane when you're already insane.
No, hold on. We'll switch up the question for you. Driven sane, eaten alive, or become a frog person?
Oh, like, which one is the most horrible?
Yeah,
like, which one would you prefer to die in?
Like, don't even die. I much prefer death than to be driven insane. Sanity.
So eaten alive?
Eaten alive might not... Like, I don't find being a frog person fun, but eaten alive, I think would be an interesting experience.
Alright. Okay, so we answered this question before, but Milan was not here, so we're going to ask him this question. Godzilla versus Cthulhu. Who will win, Milan?
Cthulhu.
Because I didn't say it, but go watch the Kiki Gentleman video game animation. There's the boss fight.
Alright, so we got a technicality because one of our guests wasn't here when we answered that question, so yeah, that was the only technicality. So, Cthulhu, Milan?
Yep.
Alright, why?
Because Cthulhu.
Fine, I kind of figured that, you son of a bitch.
Fine, okay, fine. You want me to go into detail? Fine, I will. Well, Cthulhu, Godzilla, I don't know if he's like, Bill tells me that he has a mind and he's some kind of sentience and that he can be driven insane, so I thought, well, if he can be controlled and driven insane, Cthulhu is obviously a much more intelligent opponent, and he's not really made out of matter. And sure, there would be an epic fight, but I think that the Cthulhu would win out in the end. Well, he'll find some sort of way to take control of Cthulhu. I mean, to take control of Godzilla, or to freeze him, or to banish him to another dimension, or something in that way. I don't know.
Alright.
Something cosmic will happen.
Alright. Thank you for that question. Serpentilada, again, hope I'm saying that name right. Next question comes from Zach the Thunder King, and he asks, which comic book character could work in an H.P. Lovecraft story? I'm gonna go, well, technically Hellboy already had H.P. Lovecraft stories, technically speaking. So I am going to say, damn it. I'm going to say maybe the Endless from Neil Gaiman's Sandman run.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Has Spawn done anything with Cthulhu?
Not to my knowledge, but then again, I don't give two shits about Spawn, so.
Yeah, but I mean, if Milan isn't writing it, it has potential. Honestly, think about this. Yeah, H.P. Lovecraft gets to write a Spawn story and set it in his own universe. There's something for you.
Alright.
It's an interesting idea for a character, just McFarlane doesn't know how to write it.
Alright. What about you, Milan?
Personally, let's see. Well, Doctor Strange is the obvious choice, but, let's see. Hellboy, Johnny Blaze, that'd be interesting.
Oh, okay, I like Johnny Blaze, that's a cool idea.
Alright, so you guys want to move on to the next question?
Yeah,
sure.
Alright. Happy Osai27 just says, oh yeah, Lovecraft is awesome indeed. So, our next question comes from DanMad297, and he asks, alright, could you make a Silent Hill crossover with the Dunwich Horror?
Well, Silent Hill is kind of like a giant, tip to the hat to Lovecraft. I mean, I'm sure, definitely. I mean, it wouldn't even take too hard to do. I mean, if you want a great, you want a template for a great Lovecraftian movie/video game, Silent Hill is your thing.
Yeah. Not the movies, the games.
The movies have their, interesting bits.
I have this picture somewhere on my computer, and it's a pyramid head, and he's standing in front of a giant clock, and all the numbers have been replaced with the word rape, and he says, "Oh goodness, just look at the time."
I have one of those.
You have a giant rape clock.
Yes, I do. It just seems more practical to have a clock.
Oh, good lord. You people.
Sorry, I never get a chance to mention that.
Alright, Malangar, hope I'm saying that name right, I apologize if I haven't, asks, what do you think of the aliens and giant penguins in At the Mountains of Madness, and would you like to see it as a major motion picture? Well, we were close to that till the funding went away.
There will be blood everywhere. Everywhere.
Man, I don't know what you're talking about. Shrek 4 is clearly a greater artistic endeavor.
Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I heard is what happened, is that now, the internet can say so many things, but it was kind of like a lot of the funding went to that, and it got canceled. It got canned. But again, I don't know if it was exactly Shrek, but that's the thing I'm hearing a lot of. But again, it's the internet, so it could be all a lie. But continue. Continue.
I was just making a stupid joke about Shrek 4 being a great artistic endeavor.
Yeah, well, you can go fuck yourself.
That was a joke!
I know.
Funny.
Yeah, you see me laughing? No. Well, okay, let's kind of spin this around of, like, how would we like to see the Mountains of Madness done, and who would you like to see, obviously, let's say, Del Toro, but who would you like to see in it? Who would you like to see cast in it as the characters?
I've heard suggestions for Tom Cruise, since, you know, he's used to dealing with aliens and stuff. I don't know, who was that guy who played the Wolfman in that new Wolfman movie?
Benicio del Toro?
Benicio del Toro. Oh, yes, I love that man.
Actually, I would like to see it. That actually is a cool idea.
Yeah, Benicio del Toro, and, I'd love to see that guy who was Dumbledore in the third Harry Potter movie.
I know who you're talking. I just don't know his name.
Yeah.
Do you know Ian?
I don't know the actor's name. I'm just trying to think of somebody. I'm trying to think of, like, good actors for, like, this kind of, you know, dark horror.
I would like to see... Okay, this is gonna...
kind of cliche, but I'm just going to throw out Adrian Brody.
Okay, Adrian Brody, he's done horror stuff. I would like to see, and this is again kind of plain, but I'd really like to see him do, because he's done movies like these beforehand. I would like to see, pretty much, Liam Neeson.
Okay.
I like to see Christopher Lee.
Yeah, he'd be cool as like maybe he would be a lot of fun. If this was back in the 70s, I would really like to see Peter Cushing. Like back in the, like if Hammer did any H.P. Lovecraft stuff.
That's the thing with Lovecraft. You have to have a budget to do anything vaguely interesting.
That is the sad, awful, horrible, unmistaken truth. Alright, so we come now to our final question. Thank you for that question, Malagar. And our next question comes from our last question comes from Death Christ 2000. And he asks, Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem, or In the Mouth of Madness, and why? So which one do we think is better?
That's a hard question.
Well, it's been a long time since I've read either, so I'm going to let Milan answer this question.
They're both valid.
I'm gonna cop out with that too.
I'm sorry, Death Christ. I just haven't read those two stories in a long time. So I'm letting the High Priest of Innsmouth explain.
I think they're both really valid interpretations of the lore of Cthulhu. I mean, you know, they're both great stories. I mean, they both are valid. Just to choose out of the two is kind of silly. I mean, you know, it's good. They're both good.
Okay.
That's the thing.
But like, okay, for just like if you really had to choose, if someone had a gun to your head, which would you choose?
I've got a gun to my head.
The one, I don't know. I'd just say the left one.
Okay. So, that was our Q&A. I'd like to thank everyone for the questions. That was a lot of fun. And as always, I would always love to thank my two companions for this Q&A. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, we're companions now. Does that unintentionally make you the doctor?
Yes, it does, bitch.
Well, since this is the end, I can sing my song now.
No you don't.
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, no. We're not doing that.
Dark ones, come back. The world will bleed, and so will your sanity.
Sanity.
And
Sanity.
sanity.
This is not a duet. This is not a duet, Ian.
Yeah, it is. Hold on, you do the bass line, I'll do the high notes.
Okay. When the world ends, the world will engulf in the river of blood, love, and madness. Okay, you ruin it. Stop it. You just killed my artistic fervor for singing.
I'm stopping this video now. Goodbye, everyone.